as exciting as financing can be, and let's just jump right in. Let me figure out sharing my screen here. All right, can we see that? Hello?
Yep, we can see it, Todd.
Okay, thank you. All right, there we go. So what we're basically going to go over today is we're going to talk about why financing, as Nicole said, is more important today than ever before. We're going to talk a little bit about how we like to see it presented. We'll talk a little bit about getting signed up with Synchrony financing, some of the options that are available, and then we'll touch on what it can do for your company in the future. So let's just jump right in. We're going to cover some of the consumer contractor facts and myths, some of the things that contractors are worried about when they get into financing, a good, better, best proposal method, and the best practices for getting started and using financing in the field. So some of the things that we hear from a contractor point of view is, you know, they don't want to get into financing because of the paperwork, because of all the different changes that have to be made. Financing world has come a long way as far as the paperwork process goes. Almost everything can be done from a laptop or a tablet or a desktop computer. So there's very little need for a paper process anymore. Customers don't ask for financing is often heard by contractors. I will tell you that although customers are not asking for financing, most of them are thinking about it. And we'll get into some of the statistics in a little bit. Back to what I said earlier, I have enough paperwork, I don't need more. Synchrony's been great at making this a paperless process. There's always a learning curve with everything, but it's one of the easier step-by-step processes that they have to go through financing a homeowner. So it has come a long way since the paper days. And the fees will only add to my costs and take away my profits from the job. So we're going to talk a little bit about how to add the fees for financing into your job cost as we get deeper into the presentation. Okay, myth number one, my customers all pay cash, so I don't need financing. I think most of us have realized that times have changed, especially over the COVID period, and that more and more people are financing. This information you're looking at here was from a 2019 study, showing that 51% of home improvements use financing to make their purchases. That's actually still pretty accurate today. There's been some interesting changes through COVID, which we'll cover in a minute. But for the most part, as you can see on this chart, you got 29% of people would not have made the purchase if financing wasn't available, and 22% that would go to another similar retailer that offered financing to get the product. Okay, so I get no incremental business by offering financing. It's just shifting customers from bank card or cash. So again, it's amazing that these numbers have stayed almost completely accurate even through the pandemic. But we're still seeing that on the average, consumers who finance spend 39% more than credit card holders, 40% more than cash, and on the average, an incremental dollar amount increase of $1,856. It's much easier to do your add-on IAQ products, to upgrade to better air filtration, to upgrade to better thermostatic control when you're only adding a few dollars a month to a payment, as opposed to adding several $100s to a one-time lump sum payment. From the consumer's point of view, I read an interesting article about 2 weeks ago. The title of it was, is HVAC becoming the automobile industry? Although we don't want to become automobile salesmen, I will tell you that more and more, we know more better than anybody, the price increases that we've had over the last year, the higher rates that we're having to charge, not only for service, but for installation, the cost of equipment increases that we've had just this year alone, that the price of an HVAC system has jumped considerably. There was a study done that said that about 10 years ago, the average HVAC system price was $3,800, and now it's $8,000. So as we get into these higher and higher price categories, as the new energy efficiency rules come into regulations come into play January 1st of 2023, which side plug, we're going to have a class on that in a few weeks. These prices are just going to continue to rise, making the average price of an HVAC system out of reach for what the average homeowner has available to them in savings. Okay. Payment options are just as important as the equipment options. So fortunately, with Synchrony's power of choice, we have several options available to you to offer your homeowner on a wide variety of scale, from no interest payments to deferred interest payments, several other options, and we'll show you those as we get further into the presentation. Okay. Again, this study was from 2019. Okay, so this is all pre-pandemic numbers. I couldn't find numbers that were current to 2021. These are still accurate, and I'll show you why I still believe that these are accurate. There was an interesting thing that happened during the pandemic, which you'll see on my next slide. But basically what this is saying is that 45% of US consumers have no money saved in their savings account. Okay, that's almost half. And that 24% had less than 1,000, and that 12% had less than 5,000. Okay, so that is 81% of US consumers that have less than $5,000 in their savings account as expendiary money to spend on an unexpected expense. Okay, now this was a chart I was able to pull. It goes through June of 2021. So as you can see, this is what the savings rate was, okay, pre-pandemic. An interesting thing when the pandemic hit is people started hoarding their money. Okay, their savings increased. Okay, but then as the fear of COVID started to subside, you can see it dropped. Oops, let me go back to that. You can see it dropped, and then we had the Delta variant and it rose again, but now fears are somewhat subsiding. We're seeing some waning of the Delta variant. So you can see that it's coming right back down to where it was in pre-pandemic numbers. So the numbers we were talking about here still hold pretty well. This is more of what we were basically just talking about. Average family account balance is $3,800. 45% of Americans have no savings at all. 81% of homeowners don't have $5,000 in ready cash available. Excuse me, I'm trying to keep something up over here. Okay. So basically, if you're selling in a cash only market, you're only dealing with 19% of your total market. You can go to that statista.com, and Nicole, if you'll take a note of that when we email them the summary of this presentation, we can include that link in there. There's a lot of information that you can pull up about your own individual county, about the state of Florida, and see exactly what your savings is in there. Some of those you can pull up for free, and some of them they do charge for, but it's a very interesting site to explore some statistics about your market area. The average credit card debt for homeowners is around $15,000. Average line of credit is $22,400, which leaves them $6,900 in available credit with no safety net. So we're seeing that more and more homeowners still, even though they may have that amount available on their credit card, they would still much prefer having the availability of financing over cash. Okay. 51% of those who use financing to make their purchases would not have made the purchase, or would have gone to another retailer if financing was not available. These are often things that a homeowner is not going to admit to you. So when you're asking a homeowner or you're making a presentation, you want to be able to include the financing amount up front, so you're easing the comfort level of the homeowner from them feeling like they have to admit that they need financing or have to show you that they need to ask for financing. So you want to make that presentation to them ahead of time. Okay. Cash limits you. It keeps you from offering the equipment consumers really want, or even giving them the choices of what they want. That's a big thing that we see out in the field with people who aren't presenting financing. They often are not only not presenting financing, but they're not presenting several options to the homeowner on equipment efficiencies, and they're not offering accessories. And if you're not offering IAQ accessories during this time right now, you're missing the boat on some serious cash flow for your company. Limits the sale, not basically just what I said. And it makes the homeowner focus on the total job cost. So that's something else that we see is when you're making a sales presentation to a homeowner and you're waiting until the very end of the presentation that you're giving them, whether it be a digital presentation or you're simply discussing the options with the homeowner, we find that most of the time, all the information that you're talking about is going in one ear and right out the other, because the homeowner is focused on what the total job cost is going to be. You can be walking around the house talking about how you're going to change some airflow issues or correct some airflow issues. You can talk about different SEER ratings, different brands, whatever, but a lot of that is not being absorbed by the homeowner because they're just wanting to know, what's my price? So by using a proposal software offering, you can usually get a price in front of the homeowner within the first 5 or 10 minutes. It's going to take their focus off the fear of what that cost is going to be. They're going to see what their monthly payment options are, and oftentimes it's going to be far less than what the homeowner is expecting it to be. So that eases that focus or that fear of what that total job cost is going to be, and allows them to focus on what they really want or need for their comfort and their household. How consumers purchase, this I'll kind of skip through, but you can see, all the big box stores are using financing. I mean, that's obvious. 60% of homeowners said financing drove their final choice. As we see in our industry, it's about 50% of the people that would have gone to another contractor if financing was not available. Okay. It allows the homeowners to buy what they truly want, instead of out there just selling 14 SEER equipment to everybody because we think that that's the lowest price unit and that's all that anybody can afford. We often find that once you start allowing financing and you show the different choices, and the homeowner can see that they can get into a higher efficient system for very little dollars more than what they would be paying for a 14 SEER system, they often upgrade the system. Same thing, extended warranties, dehumidifiers, air cleaners, media filters. These are all items that you can customize into a proposal selling software where you're letting the homeowner decide what the homeowner wants to offer or wants to purchase for their need, whether their importance lies in comfort and cooling or whether their importance lies in IAQ, smart thermostats, what have you. You let them design the system that they want. And again, it makes a non-planned situation less frightening. Let's face it, most homeowners out there are not thinking about their air conditioning system. Most homeowners out there are just thinking it's going to run forever. And when it breaks down, it's usually a non-planned situation. Okay, you got 3 types of consumers: the cash buyer, the payment buyer, and the credit challenged. Okay, we're seeing a major shift away from cash. Most people are using, at the very minimum, a credit card. From there, of course, financing. Oftentimes, even if they are paying cash to you, they are getting that through some sort of financing somewhere else. So the financing market is definitely getting more and more in demand and bigger. And I believe we have Justin Stocker online, and I may have him pop in towards the end and talk about some of that as well. So be prepared, Justin. Okay. Best practices: determining the average cost of credit and include it with every sale, actively promote to derive leads, and consistently offer at every sale to increase those close rates. All right, I'm going to switch screens for just a second, if I can figure this out. And we're going to talk about average cost of credit. Bear with me here. Okay. All right, this is an average cost of credit calculator that we created. It's very simple. It can be done on paper. It's nothing difficult, but it's just easier for me. Can you see this, by the way?
Yeah, Tod, we can see it.
Okay, thank you.
You bet.
All right, so this would be a contractor that's doing $650,000 in retail sales. Okay, and you want to, one of the comments that we get all the time is, well, when I have a customer that wants financing, I just add whatever the financing charge is to that sale. Okay, well, that can put you out of the market in the price range that you have, because some of the financing options that are available have dealer cost upwards of 9%. Some of them are even upwards of 18% dealer cost. We can show you ways with this calculator to average that out where you're not hitting those customers that want or need financing with a huge financing burden onto that. So you're doing 650,000 in sales. I would encourage you to start tracking your sales as to how many of your sales are cash or check, how many are done via credit card, and how many are done through financing, if you're offering financing at all. Okay. So in this particular instance, we separated with 50% cash, 30% credit card, and 20% of these homeowners are financing. Okay. So 50% of our 650,000 in revenue is 325,000, and it didn't cost you anything to collect those funds. They paid you in cash or they gave you a check. So there's no fee to you as a contractor for that. 30% were credit card. So 30% of that 650,000 means in $195,000 you collected, you paid 3%, which is the average credit card cost to the dealer. So that cost you $5,850. And 20% of those homeowners you were financing. So that's $130,000 of that 650,000 in revenue. Financing fees to you as a contractor of 9% gave you a transaction cost to finance those people cost you $11,700. So in this scenario, that cost you $17,550 in total cost to the dealer to handle those credit cards and that financing. So what we do at that point is we divide that cost into the total revenue amount. And that means that gives you an average cost of credit of 2.7%. So instead of adding that 9% to your financing customers, if you just increase your pricing by 2.7% across the board for all homeowners, whether they're paying cash, credit card, or financing, then you'll cover those costs. Now I'll touch briefly on this, but this is not what this presentation is about. But for those of you that are buying Rude from us and are in the Rude program, if you're a Rude Pro partner, we have discounts that discount this down. So if we drop this down to say 1%, you can see that that only adds a cost of burden of average cost of credit, drops it down to 1.10%. So you can, for very little addition to your average pricing, you can offer this financing without having to change prices between your cash customers and your credit customers. Okay. All right. Now let me jump back to the presentation here. Okay. You're not seeing that, are you? Bear with me here. Sometimes I'm technically challenged. All right, there we go. Hopefully this isn't going to something's going wrong here. Sorry, folks, technical difficulties here. I think this is gonna, yeah, that's what I was afraid of. All right, bear with me. Sorry about this. You can tell I'm not a PowerPoint pro. Nicole, you'll have to teach me how to do this. There we go. Okay. Actively promote to drive leads. And what we mean by that is, if you want to be successful in the financing world, and by successful, I mean being able to increase your average ticket sales by 39 to 40%, by getting approval on financing credits more often than not, then the only way to do that is to consistently offer it at every single sale. Okay. You need to offer financing on every proposal that you do. You want to do it without asking the homeowner if they need financing, without assuming if they need financing. As we said, you got about 51% of people that made home improvement purchases of a considerable amount of money like that would have gone to another contractor if financing weren't available, and that it's going to increase your average ticket price 39 to 40%. Those are real numbers that we see with people that are actively using these programs. Okay. You can advertise financing to generate more leads, pitch financing every time, close the jobs that are more profitable. Okay. Revise your proposal form to include the total job cost, and then give the monthly payment cost right next to it. Unfortunately, we're reaching a period in the HVAC industry where we are going to need to start quoting equipment pricing instead of in lump sums. You should be quoting it in monthly payments. Most of you, if I asked you what your average 3-ton heat pump or straight cool system that you sell, what your average install price is, you could probably rattle it right off the top of your head and say it's $6,500 or $5,800 or $5,000 or whatever it is you're getting for that. But if we asked you what your monthly payment would be on there, you would stim and stutter and not know that right off the top of your head. So we need to make a cultural shift where when we have a homeowner, a friend, a coworker, whatever, somebody that asks us, hey, what's the average system price go for? Our response should be, we can do that for as little as $65 a month. Okay. So these are the changes in our culture that are becoming more and more prevalent. The a la carte options, we're going to jump from this page into a proposal software program that we have. Then I'm going to shows you how to add these a la carte programs into there. And then we're going to go into the quick comfort menus as well. So let me try to do this again here. Okay, so nope, that's the wrong one. Okay. All right, so hopefully you're seeing a proposal on your screen, Tim.
Yep, we can see it.
All right, so this is our software that we sell. It's called Silver Bullet. This is what the proposal looks like when you jump into it. I'll jump back just a page here and show you. This would be your design logo, some information about your company. We link it to your Synchrony financing account. You'd enter the homeowner's name, capture their email, their address, put in the type of system that you're selling them, what the system size is, and build the system. When you're in here in this software, it's going to automatically populate with different options. We set this all up for and with you. As far as we load the pricing, we get you all set up. It's a painless process, but you have all these options available to you. This is meant for you to present this in front of the homeowner. I'm not going to go into great detail with this because this is more about the financing side than the proposal side, but we just wanted to show you that there's software available that can help you jump into this type of proposal software selling, where you can come into here and you can add options just by simply clicking and adding or excluding options. It'll show the homeowner the change in the monthly payment. You can talk about thermostats and controls and change different thermostats to whatever you have in there. And again, this is all customizable to the products that you're selling. You can change the IAQ products in here. And as we make any of these changes, you see it's changing in the total dollar amount and in the monthly payment. Okay. You can have them sign the proposal right on your tablet. You have calculators and all kinds of things. The Silver Bullet is a whole new presentation. If we get enough demand on that, I'll be happy to do another Silver Bullet presentation that goes into way more detail on it. But I just wanted to show you that this is a great, simple proposal software that you can get into. Just contact your local Tropic Supply rep and they can help you jump into it more. On this side over here, you see it will link to your different Synchrony financing options that you can select. So it's a really easy, customizable platform. It gives you a way to discuss all the different options with the homeowner on efficiencies, all the different options to the homeowner on service and maintenance, thermostats and controls, indoor air quality. So these are all different things that are available to you. And I'll show you just real quick. You also have the availability to add any and all options into here. So if there's things that you're doing, maybe you're doing duct cleaning that you want to add into here, maybe you're doing duct sealing, thermal imaging, different things like that, all that can be added into. These are ever populating fields that we can grow and grow and grow. And again, we set this all up for you, okay, with just a little bit of information from you. So that's the Silver Bullet program. That's the way that we want you, whether you use our program or anybody else's, to get in front of the homeowner as many options on equipment, accessories, and especially financing, so that the homeowner can see that they can get into a system for less than $100 a month, okay? And these prices are a little bit high because of all the different things that we've added into each of these. But oftentimes when I'm working with a contractor, well, basically Synchrony has a 1.25% option. So at $5,000 sale is $6,250 a month. Okay, so it goes from there. All right, we'll stop sharing this. And let's see if I did this right. Hey, there we go. Got right back there. Okay. Okay. So last but not least, I guess, sorry about that. We're going to jump back out of here to Synchrony. Sorry, I'm having some more difficulty here. I've lost my Synchrony page. All right. Well, I'll tell you what I'm going to do. All right, we'll just jump into here. All right, and we'll just bear with me. Are you seeing my?
Yeah, we're seeing your Google search.
Okay. Okay, this is how you would get to Synchrony, so we may as well go through this anyways if you already have a MyRoot account. If you don't, you can get with your Tropic Supply, and they can direct you to this, but it's under the marketing tab, under financing. For enrollment, you can simply come down here and click on contractors enroll now. And it's a very simple process. If you don't want to do that, you can also just call them and they'll walk you through how the enrollment process. There's several good reference documents here that go into the entire program. Talks about the power of choice. We didn't go through this, but this is Synchrony Transact. Synchrony Transact is the cloud-based software that you use that takes you step by step on the different offerings that you can give to a homeowner, taking you all the way from showing them their different plan options to all the way through to approval for financing. But this is what I wanted to show was the menu selection sheet. Are you seeing the selection sheet?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. So these, let me see if I can, no, there we go. All right. So these are all the different options that are available to you through Synchrony. They've done a great job with what they call their power of choice. So when you're selecting your different option plans, you have this plan at the top that's always going to be selected for you, which is no monthly interest if paid in full within 6 months. Okay. So the monthly payment factor is the percentage of the price that the homeowner pays per month. So if you're doing a $5,000 sale, you'd multiply that by 2.5%, and that would be your monthly payment. The discount fee is the fee that you pay as the dealer to offer them that financing. Okay. So when you sign up with Synchrony and you do the power of choice, you get this option plus 5 other options that you can select of these plans that I'm showing you now. And as you go through these in the business center, you'll be able to change these whenever you want. Okay. So you're not tied to these for any specific length of time. If you need to change to a different plan to accommodate a homeowner, you simply go into the business center and select it and click on it. But you have your options of no monthly interest if paid in full within 9, 12, 15, 18, or 24 months for a 2.5% payment factor, which is low. Then you have fixed payment options. So you can do 3.99%. Now you see that these have higher dealer fees. Okay, but what I want to point out is as you come down, my screen's in the way, I can't see it. Here it is. Okay, so this is one of our most popular options, option 943. It's a 9.99 APR until paid in full, but it only has a 1.25% payment factor and a dealer fee of 5.85%. And again, if you're in our Rude Pro Partner Program, that dealer fee is covered. Okay. So again, another discussion, but if you're interested in that, please reach out to your local HVAC consultant and ask them about it. But even so, a 1.25% payment factor, 5.85% dealer fee, that's the lowest monthly payment option that we offer. And it's one of the lowest in the industry, if not the lowest in the industry. So again, that's that $5,000 sale that'd be $6,250 per month to a homeowner. And you can also, as we come further down on the list, you have equal monthly payment options. So if you have a homeowner that wants to do 25 months, 36 months, 48 months, 60 or 72 months, you have those available to you also at low payment factors, but you can see there's a graduated dealer fee. And those dealer fees can be offset in the Rude Pro Partner Program again. So, excuse me. Justin, is there anything you'd like to add at this point right here?
No, I think when you look at these different promotions, just realize that there's really 3 different customers. There's a customer who's interested in a payment. There's a customer who's interested in an interest rate, and then probably like many of us, when we're going to look at TVs or furniture, there's customers who are interested in the no interest, right, or deferred interest plans. So as you pick the 5 plans through here, just make sure that you're giving an option for every single one of those customers in those separate buckets, and not just picking all no interest plans, right, or all low payment plans, because the reality is we don't want to we don't know the customer's financial situation as we walk into the house, right? So we want to have that option, kind of like he was shown on the previous slide with Silver Bullet, where we can say, hey, it's a $5,000 job, cash check Visa. I got a $63 a month payment, or I have this no interest for 12 or 18 months, right? And allowing that customer at the point of sale to decide what works best for them and their budget. So no, I think this is great, Todd. Appreciate it.
Okay, excellent. All right, so last but not least, let me stop sharing this, share another screen. We're going to talk about what this can do for your bottom line. This is a program that Silver Bullet put together for us to help show the growth that you can achieve through financing. I went through this and tried to put in as realistic numbers as I can. I went as conservative as I could. So you'll see some of the numbers are even lower because I didn't want to overinflate anything. But this would be starting with a contractor that is doing 60% of their sales in 14 SEER equipment and 40% of their sales in 15 SEER equipment, not even offering anything higher than that. We have some contractors out there, they concentrate on 14 and 15 SEER, and that's all they do. And oftentimes you're looking at a contractor that's doing high volume and low margins. So we'd like to help you get into lower volume and higher margins. So looking at these sales, this is what the estimated equipment sale price would be. That gives you an average cost of $4,900 on your average system price. Okay. Now, if we adjusted this and instead of doing 60% in 14 and 40% in 15, we've seen that just by offering all 4 items in the Silver Bullet platform, that we see a growth change here. Okay. So this is typically will drop to maybe, let's say 40%, and that may stay at 40%, but now you may have, let's say 10% here and 10% here, or even 15% here and 5% here. Okay. And the higher categories, just by making the 4-tiered product offering, you're going to see a shift where people are going to gravitate up to those 2 middle offerings. It's just the nature of the beast. We used to just offer 3 tiers, a good, better, and best. And the majority of homeowners would settle on the middle category. And statistics have shown that if we separate that middle category into 2 categories, that we can pick an additional margin dollars up by bumping them up to a higher price level. So that'll take your average system price from $4,900 to $5,500 simply by offering the 4 products. As we know, there really isn't, or very little, if any, difference whether you're installing a 14-SEER system or a 20-SEER system. You still have the condenser, the air handler, the line set, the platform, so on and so forth. The labor is fairly the same. So you're increasing your ticket price just by making the offering. Okay. We find that when you use a proposal software selling and you're including the accessories, that you're going to see an increase in your maintenance contracts, your extended parts and labor warranties, your controls, meaning your thermostats. More and more people will upgrade to the smart controls, and your IAQ product. Okay. So we're looking at these average prices, your selling prices of that product. And even if we just added small amounts, like maybe you only increased your maintenance contracts by 5%, okay, and your extended labor policies by 5%, and your controls, well, we had 15 and 5% up here. Those 17s and 20s require a more expensive control. So let's say we put that at 20. IAQ is extremely popular right now. So with the IAQ, let's say we go 35% more IAQ sales. Okay. So you can see just by doing that, that's going to add an additional revenue of $34,945. And that's based on 40% gross margin. So that's another $14,000 in profit that can be added to the bottom line. And again, these are low numbers. We see a much higher increase in that. Now, something we want to talk about down here is your close ratio. Okay, remember that we talked about 50% of people would have gone to another contractor if financing was not offered. Okay, so in order, if we had a 28% closing ratio, which to a contractor that's not offering proposal selling and not offering financing, that's actually higher than what the average is. Okay, that means you would have had to gone out to 357 leads to sell those 100 jobs that we had. Okay, all right, if we were to just this 60,000 is reflective of the increase in our system price from 4,900 to 5,500 just by offering the 4 options. Okay, but now if we were able to close more sales, let's say we only increased 7%, so we go to 35% here. Okay, that's going to pick us up another 25 leads. Okay, and increasing our revenue from system sales to 196,500. Okay, now the average system price changed because we took those increased 25 sales and averaged them across what we had up here. Okay, which now calculates out with those additional customers, those additional 125 calculates out to 5,492. So that's why it went down from 5,900. Okay. But as you can see, by simply doing this software, and we've seen much greater improvements. We've seen things up to 80% closure rates. Okay. I mean, imagine that if you went to 80% here, what that could do for your, look at that, the field's even too big for it. Well, I won't get into changing that, but you can see, let's see if we go to 50. Yeah, you can see how big a difference it can make in your bottom line simply by increasing that amount. Okay. So if we take the increase in jobs sold, the increase in revenue sold, okay, the additional revenue from the upgrades, all right, that's a 50% increase in growth, okay, and an extra $100,000 in profit. And those are minimal changes that we made. Okay, so it doesn't take a lot to increase your bottom line for pretty much the same thing you're doing now. The only additional stuff would be in there would be, of course, the IAQ or any of the add-ons that you're doing. Okay, the main factor here is financing is more and more in demand. Excuse me. Your consumers spend 39 to 40% more when they finance a job than when they pay cash for it. And again, offering financing on every proposal, every job, every sale, including commercial. Commercial financing is a whole separate presentation, but we do offer financing on commercial product as well. So that's where we're at. That's the end of my presentation, unless we have any questions. Let me stop share here. And thank you. Are there any questions?
No questions yet.
All right. From here, we are going to move to Nicole, who is going to ask questions to see if you were paying attention. Okay. Nicole, there you go.
Okay. All right, so let's see here. So quiz question time. Everybody make sure you've got your chat boxes open.
Yeah.
Okay, question 1. Who is the best customer to offer financing to? A, customers who appear to need financing. B, only customers who ask for financing. C, every customer every time. Or D, only customers buying high efficiency equipment. Question 2. On average, customers spend how much more when financing than credit card or cash users? A, 10% to 15%, B, 39 to 40%, C, 2 to 3%, or D, 22 to 27%. Question 3. The best way to cover your dealer cost of financing is A, add the financing cost to the sale. B, add $250 to every sale. C, the blackjack table at Hard Rock. D, average your cost of credit and factor that into every sale. Question 4. What's the name of the proposal software that Tropic Supply offers? A, HVAC Proposals. B, Silver Bullet. C, Good, Better, Best Proposals. D, Synchrony Selling.
I just want to add that all of our sales consultants can do presentations for you guys and walk you through this whole process. So don't be afraid. We have people who have done it with other contractors previously and are very well versed. Justin is also a great resource at Synchrony Financial that can help you get started. And Scott is asking a question about proposal software. Scott, what do you want to know about the proposal software? You can chat, you can put your chat in the, or your question in the chat. The software that we offer here is called Silver Bullet. And like Todd said, Todd is played a very instrumental role in how that software came about and how it's developed over the years. So he's very well versed in how to get it set up and how to use it. How do you get it? Okay, Scott, we're going to make a note to follow up with you to show you more about Silver Bullet and how to get started with it. I'm taking a note and we will send you an email, have somebody follow up with you on that. But like I said, Todd has done a huge job with getting that software to where it is today and making it very easy for your techs out in the field, your sales guys out in the field to be able to present on financing and talk the homeowner through a conversation of what kind of system they would like to have in their house. So highly recommend it. Any other questions? Oh, how to incorporate mini splits in Pro Partner. Okay, so Adam.
Part of the proposal software we offer now, we can incorporate mini splits into the Silver Bullet program. We are slightly limited in that. Right now, we can only offer single zones. We're still working on a way that we can do multi-zone with Silver Bullet, but as you know, there are so many variations when it comes to multi-zone, as far as the type of heads you can select, the number of heads that you can select. So there's so many options. And Silver Bullet was not designed to be this big, complicated proposal software selling. It was designed to be simple software selling. Okay, so proposal selling. So we're still working on that, but we can incorporate mini splits into the Silver Bullet program, just single zone right now, not multi-zone.
Any other questions? Don't be shy. This was really meant to be an overview presentation to give you some reasons why financing should be part of your story and your success going forward. And I agree with Todd. I'm Heather, by the way. I work in the marketing department, and it's becoming very clear and apparent to me that as these system prices rise, the importance of financing is going to be paramount to you being able to compete against somebody else in the marketplace. And so I know there is some fear. People think it's complicated, and it can be when you first get started because if you're not used to doing it. But it's like anything, forming a new habit. It really would recommend that you take those steps now to set yourself up for success going forward, especially in 2023 with the regulatory changes that are going to push that cost of equipment even further than what we've seen this year. So don't be afraid. We're here to help. And we've got lots of resources to be able to do that for you.
Well said.
All right, I don't see anything else. Thanks for joining us, everyone.